Welcome to Politics News Wolf US channel. As the Russia-Ukraine war testifies, the number of incredible events on the front line is increasing every. Some of the incredible events are that Russian soldiers blow up their own ammunition depots, while a heroic Ukrainian soldier single-handedly pulsed their Russian unit. The clashes between separatist units within the Russian army and the killing of important figures, such as all guards, politicians, and Russian army officials on Russian soil also leave Russia unsuccessful in the face of Ukraine. Another unbelievable incident took place the other day in the Russian city of P. The unbelievable incident in the city of Dga Road, located just 40 kilometers from the Aegean border, caused a great panic in Russia, so much so that a state of emergency was declared in Valrodazhenka. We reported developments in the region with our understanding of accurate and impartial journal. You can click on the Super Thanks button to support our work and our teammates. If you are ready, let's analyze the incident in P. B is one of the most important cities in the war due to its location bordering Ukraine. This city has minute-free bases, training grounds and ammunition depots that are essential for Russian troops to succeed in the war. In addition, B's watchtowers, which are ready to monitor the activity on the border with Ukraine, are of great importance for the Russian. The other day at 10:55 p.m. local time, a Russian VA plane struck Elro, one of the most critical and strategic areas of the war. Russia is bombing its own territory. The moments when the fighter jet of the Russian army hit Elro were caught on camera in the footage. It is clearly seen that the bomb fell on a residential area in the city. After the bomb hits the ground, a huge fireball rises into the sky with the violence of the explosion caused widespread destruction. So much so that in the images shared about the development in Dga Road, it has clearly seen that the vehicles traveling with the violence of the explosion flew up to the roofs of the houses in the region. As a result of the bomb launched by the fighter jet, a large crater 20 meters wide was formed in Bel. The Russian Defense Ministry and the governor of Belgorod region, Westliko, made statements about the incident. The ministry said that Russian warplanes had accidentally hit Elro. It was very surprising that the Russian Defense Ministry, which has denied almost all of its losses throughout the war, accepted the incident in Belgorod. The expression accidentally, which is the ministry particularly emphasized, raised even more question marks in the ministry's statement is as follows: AS-34 Air Force plane was flying over the city of Belgorod. There was an accidental discharge of aviation ammunition. As a result, there was damage to residential buildings. No casualties and investigation is underway. Regional Governor, WRCO declared a state of emergency in the city. After the explosion, GCO announced the explosion in the city as follows: an explosion has occurred. According to preliminary information, there are no casualties. Thank God a large part of the city was affected by the explosion. Russian authorities, who had no information at the first moment of the incident, were surprised. Over time information was obtained. According to the statement, there were no casualties. It was stated that there were 2 vomit in total, including a woman who was hospitalized with a head. However, many more analysts believe that the intensity of the explosion in the footage could have killed many more Russian citizens. The governor's office said later that 4 apartment buildings and 4 cars were affected by the blast. Glocko shared images of the aftermath of the explosion on Telegram. The images clearly show debris on the main street and city streets, damaged apartments and cars, and shattered. Footage on social media showed a car being blown onto a roof of a local grocery store by the force of the explosion. According to Governor Glocko, the explosion in Belgorod Road created a huge shock wave that's damaged many buildings and cars and knocked down power line poles. The governor noted that restoration work has begun in the area, and temporary accommodation has been offered in a hotel for residents of apartments affected by there. Many writers, war analysts and academics commented on the development in Elro. One academic emphasized the fragmentation in the Russian army and put his inability to move forward as he wanted in the invasion of Ukraine. Along with all this, he drew it as experienced soldiers who have been reluctantly forced to fight in the Russian army since the beginning of the war, and who have escaped from the research assistant said the accidental bombing of Valor is yet another example that goes to prove Russia's ministry proves has been shattered. It is not a secret that this invasion has not gone according to plan, and Putin has already fired many at the top of the Kremlin in the last year. It is not just that the troops are being experienced and disorganized, it is also that many have no will to fight, with a staggering number of Russians fleeing Russia since the war begun. The city of Baro has been the scene of numerous explosions and fires since the start of the Russian-Ukrainian war. The incident of the Pay brought to mind an explosion that took place in Baro. On January 14, a Russian officer had targeted his unit in the Konsky district of Baro-Algor. The officer threw a grenade at his unit in order to establish. As a result of this attack, 3 Russian soldiers were killed and 16 Russian soldiers were seriously wounded. On January 14, there were many interpretations of the explosion. The Russian state agency again explained the Russian officer's attack as accidental. The agency stated that the bump in the head accidentally exploded and that the explosion had intensified when it spread to an ammunition. In response, the Telegram channel, which broadcasts about security problems in Russia, said that the officer who carried out the explosion had brought an RGD-5 grenade to establish authority over his troops. Russia continues to suffer casualties both in the city and at the front. Russian officials do nothing but deny these casualties. Russia is having major problems in the face of these. So much so that the problem have spread beyond the front and spread inside the country. Russian citizens want this chaos to end immediately. According to researchers, it is stated that a total of 900 Russians have left the country since the war started. Of this number, about 500,000 people are felt to have left the country after Putin declared mobilization in September 2022, having lost hundreds of thousands of soldiers at the front. It seems unlikely that Putin will continue to war. Along with all these losses, the sanctions imposed by the Western and European countries have pushed Putin into a corner as the war is progressing in Ukraine's favor day by day. It is eagerly awaited when Putin will give up the occupation. When do you think Russian leader Vladimir Putin will give up his decision to invade? What do you think about the Russian army bombing its own city with fighter? Do you think the statements of Russian officials reflect the truth? We are curious about your opinions. Thank you for watching the video. If you find it useful, please comment and share the video for us. It will make our channel more known. See you in the following videos. Thank you very much. Following videos.